So, good morning, all of you. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the types of energy sources like the conventional and renewable energy sources. And we have already discussed about the advantage, disadvantage, and the sources which include in the conventional sources. And we already discussed about also the renewable energy sources like the solar, wind, tidal, and hydro, biofuel, and geothermal. So now geothermal energy we will discuss in this lecture. So a brief introduction about the geothermal energy will be covered in this lecture. So the geothermal energy is energy obtained by tapping the heat of the earth itself, both from kilometers deep into the earth crust in volcanically active locations of the globe or from the shallow depth, as in geothermal heat pumps in most locations of the planet. As the name indicates, you can see there geothermal, which combine the two words geo and plus thermal. Geo means the geo related to the is earth. Geo means the earth, and the thermal means the heat energy. So here two words combined, geo plus thermal. So the geothermal energy actually obtained by the earth crust, and earth crust in the earth crust by the activations. So it is expensive to build a power station, but operating costs are low, resulting in low energy costs for suitable sites. Ultimately, this energy derives from heat in the Earth's core. So you can see here the diagram of geothermal energy plant, in which you can see there are a production well, and one is injection well. So we buried a pipeline into the earth crust in the deep, a kilometer deep. So and the hot springs and hot vapors come from this production well to the earth's surface, and the heat by the heat of this hot springs and vaporized steam uh, will be absorbed by the heat exchanger and transfer to the turbine. So here the heat exchanger with working fluid. Here is a heat exchanger which extends the heat from the production well to the turbine blades. So, and this heat is converted into the pure saturated steams and injected into the turbine blades, and turbine blades is all coupled to the generator shaft, and finally we got the output at the output end and desired output. So you can see here the injection wall, the steam the steam, the heat is absorbed by the heat exchanger, and the remaining water is again sent to the earth crust by the injection wall. So there are the rock layers, different rock layer. So the kilometer depth there is a magma, and you know about the magma. There is a lot of heat in the magma, and due to this magma, the water under the earth crust, yeah, under the rock, are also vaporized water. So there are three types of power plant are used to generate power from geothermal energy: dry steam, flash, and binary. In the dry steam, we got the steam from the production wall. In the case of the flash, actually we use the hot water, the hot spring from the earth crust. And in the case of binary, the steam we actually steam with the water. So the binary means the water plus steam here. So dry steam plant takes steam out of fractures in the ground and use it to directly drive a turbine that spins a generator. So dry steam can be used directly and directly inject to the turbine blades. In the case of the flash plant, take hot water, usually at temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, out of the ground and allow it to boil as it rises to the surface. Then separate the steam phases in steam water separators and then run the steam through a turbine. So in the flex plant, we can use the hot water also, and we can use the steam. We can use the steam from the hot water, and by using the water separator, steam or water separator, there are a steam water separator which separate the steam and water differentially. So in binary plant, the hot water flow through the heat exchanger, boiling an organic fluid that spins the turbine. And the condensed steam and remaining geothermal fluid from all three types of plants are injected back into the hot rock to pick up more heat. So the geothermal energy from the core of the earth is closer to the surface in some areas than in others, where hot underground steam or water can be tapped and brought to the surface. It may be used to generate electricity. So it is the basic concept of the geothermal energy, the basic operation of the geothermal energy. And now we will discuss about the advantage of renewable energy sources and then the disadvantage of the renewable energy resources. So first advantage, the renewable energy resources consist of solar, hydel, wind, geothermal, ocean and biomass. Actually, we already discussed about it. The most common advantage of each is that they are renewable and cannot be depleted. They are unlimited in the nature. So they are clean energy as they do not pollute the air and they do not contribute the global warming or greenhouse effect. And the last but not the least, since their sources are natural to the costs of operation is reduced and they also require less maintenance in their plants. Now we discuss about the disadvantages. A common disadvantage to all is that it is difficult to produce the large quantity of electricity their counterparts of the fossil fuel are able to. Actually, we have already discussed about that. That these renewable energy resources, renewable energy plant, used as a peak load plant, but not used as a base load plant. So, because of it's really difficult to produce a large quantity of electricity. There's a large amount of the energy from these. But since they are also new technologies, the cost of initiating them is high, and the cost of and the initial cost and the installation cost is really high for these plants. So in the case of wind, the turbines are expensive. Wind does not blow all the time because there are uncertainty of flow of wind. So they have to be the part of a larger plant. And then in the case of the solar, panels are expensive. And the panels are really expensive. And the governments are not too willing to buy home generated electricity. Not all climates are suitable for the solar panels. In the case of waves energy, waves and the ocean energies, the different technologies are being tried around the world. Scientists are still waiting for the killer project. The last one, the tide. In the case of tide, the barrages, you can see the dams across river mouth are expensive to build and disrupt the shipping. And the smaller turbine are cheaper and easier to install. In the case, the river, the next factor is the rivers. The dams are expensive to build and disrupt the environment. They have also caused the earthquakes. And the geothermal energy, difficult to drill 2 and 3 kilometers down into the earth. It's really difficult to drill the 3 and 2 kilometers down in the earth. The biofuel often uses cropland and crops like corn to produce the bioalcohol. This means that more land has to be cleared to grow crops, and there is not enough food, or that food become more expensive. So there are tabular descriptions and tabular differentiations between the renewable energy and non-renewable energies. And the first are the first column shows the renewable energy, and the second one is called the non-renewable energy. In the case of renewable energy, supply is continuous, but in the case of non-renewable energy, it's uncontinuous supply. It's a limited supply. And in the case of renewable energy, can be replenished within a short period of time. But in the case of non-renewable energy, it takes a longer time, the millions of years to be replenished. And in the case of the renewable energy, the most of the resources are fairly non-polluting and available locally. And but in the case of the non-renewable energy, cause pollution and global warming. So, if you have any query regarding these all, then you can ask me. You can WhatsApp me, text me, and mail me. And thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you, really. Thank you very much for giving me the attention. And in the next section, we will discuss about the broadly about these all renewable and conventional energy sources like the wind, biofuel, and the solar, thermal, hydel, and we will discuss about their important physics related to the wind physics and the solar physics also. So thank you very much. Thank you.